In the previous video we were talking about for loop. Now we also have one more similar loop, and this loop is used in most of the cases in almost all the programming languages. The concept behind this loop is same in almost all the programming languages, and the name of this loop is for each. Let's understand what is this for each loop. Here let's just remove all these things, and here first I want to create a list. A list is basically a collection, and in this list I can provide any kind of type. So for example, here I'm typing integer values like this, and this is the name of this list, and here I can define few list, for example like this. So this list is having only 3 values as of now over here. Now if I want to iterate all the values from this list, then I have one for loop. So let's just try that for loop first. And here you can see that this is how we can iterate all the values from this particular list. If I will just run this application, then you can see we are getting all the values. Now we have one more very simple way to iterate all the values from this list. And what is that? This is called as for each. In the for each, first you have to write this keyword, and here you can notice Visual Studio is showing me some kind of IntelliSense. And if I press the tab button over here, then you can notice we are having some code. It is saying integer is a type, then we are having I in list, and then we can provide a body. So basically this is the basic syntax of this for each loop. Now let's have a deep look on this for each loop. Here you can notice we are passing this list over here, and we are iterating all the values over here. So basically what is the type of element of this list? The type is integer type, and that is why we have written integer over here. For example, if you are having another list, let's say this one, it is 2, and here I'm having, let's assume that a string. Let's assume that I'm having another list of type string, then this type would be a string if I'm running the for each loop on this particular type. Let's try this one also with an example. So this is how I'm writing over here, and this time I will use this list2. Automatically you can notice we are getting the error. What is the error? It is saying we cannot convert a string to integer. So it means here we have to write a string this time like this. Okay, so there are two ways. First is you can explicitly mention the type of element in this particular data, or you can also use that where keyword like this. This will work in both the situations. Now what will happen in for each loop? It will iterate all the elements one by one from this data. Now let's learn how this for each loop will work. So when we will run this for each loop in our program, so basically it will iterate all the elements of this particular data one by one. How? So first it will get this particular value, and it will be available in this I. Then whatever code you have written over here in this body of for each loop, that will be executed for this particular I value. That is the first value. Once all the lines will be executed, then it will move on the next element, on the second one. And similarly for this iteration as well, all the lines will be executed. Let's understand this concept. So here let's say I'm writing this console.writeLine like this, and remember we do not have to use this list like this, because this I is something that is holding the current value from this list. So we can use this I directly over here. Okay, so let's just comment this thing for a while, and including this one as well. I just want to focus only on this for each loop. So what we are doing, we are iterating all the elements from this first list by using the for each loop, and we are simply displaying all of them one by one on the console screen. Let's understand how it will work. Here you can see we are getting all the values one by one. If I put a breakpoint over here and run this application in debug mode, then this time you can see we are having 1. If I click on this continue button and open this console window as well over here, you can notice we are having 1 on the output. Now what is the value in the I? This time it is 2. If I click on the continue button again, then you can notice we are getting 3 over here. And this is how this for each loop is working. Now let's understand the main logic behind this for each loop. The for each statement performs a statement or a group of statements for every item within an object of a type that implements either the system.collection.IEnumerable or system.collections.generic.IEnumerable of t. It means if you are using a type that is implementing either this IEnumerable or this generic version of IEnumerable, which is IEnumerable t, then you can use for each loop on that particular type. Let's verify it with this list. So if I just right click on this list and use this go to definition, here you can notice it is implementing three interfaces. First is this ilist, then we have this ilist, and this is the read only list. Let's just go to the definition of this ilist as well. And here you can notice it is implementing both of them. This is the IEnumerable and this is the IEnumerable of t. It means we can implement the for each loop on this particular type. Similarly, you can use this for each loop on all the collections that are available in C# programming languages. Now what is the difference in between for and the for each loop? In for loop, you can write this condition based on your need. But here in the for each loop, there is no condition. It will simply iterate all the elements one by one. Another difference is that let's assume you want to run this for loop only for first two elements, right? So int is I equal to 0 and int I is less than equal to count. So here basically you can write 2. Then this loop will work only for 2 times, but there is no such type of condition in for each loop. Whatever data you are writing over here, it will iterate all the values from that data. You can also perform some operations over here on this list. For example, here you can say only take 2. Then it will work only for 2 elements, but ultimately this is returning another collection, and ultimately we are iterating all that elements from this collection. So it means whatever data we are writing over here, this for each loop will iterate all the elements from that data. That is the main difference. The another difference from this for and for each loop is that in the for loop I can run this condition from end to first. It means if I want to display the values from 3 to 1, then I can simply change this condition over here and I will get all the values over here. But that is not possible in for each. The for each loop will iterate all the elements only from the beginning. So first it will get 1, then 2, then 3. Now let's talk about some more complex situations. So here let's just remove all these things, and here I'm just writing only one string. So let's say it is the name, and in this string I'm writing my name. What if I want to execute a for each loop on this string value? So let's say I'm writing this for each loop. I'm going to take the help from the intelligence of Visual Studio, and here I'm writing this name. Here you can notice we are using var. You can use var, or you can also use the character over here. Now let's just display all the values first, and then we will talk about some more complex logic over here. So here I'm writing item, and that's it. Run this application. You can see we are getting all the characters one by one over here. Now if I want to have a look on this string class, then you can notice it is not implementing any kind of interface of enumerable type. Then how this for each loop is working over here? Let's understand this concept. In this name, if I will press the dot, then you can notice we are getting this get enumerator method. And here is the very important concept. It is not always required or mandatory for a type to implement this IEnumerable interface. It will also work if your type is having one get enumerator public method, and it must be parameterless. Also, this get enumerator method must have a public current property and public move next method, and its return type must be a boolean value. And this is what we are having in this case. Here you can notice we are having one get enumerator method. So we are using this array concept, and in this array concept we are having this get enumerator. If I just right click on this one and choose this go to definition, here you can notice this is the get enumerator method and it is parameterless. This is what we are using over here. If I go to the class, then you can notice we are still in this string class, right? So this string class is providing this get enumerator method, and because of that we are able to run this for each loop on this particular data. Let's try another example. So I'm just gonna comment all these things, and here this time I will write one array of integers. Array and list, these are something that we have not covered so far in this course, but just consider this array as a collection of multiple data at a single place. So we are creating an array of integers, so it means it can only hold integer values. This is how we have to do it. You can give any meaningful name over here, This integer is an array of integer type. It means it is holding only the integer values over here, and its maximum capacity is 5 elements. Now let's say I want to execute a for each loop on this particular array. So here I'm writing this for each, and let's use this console.writeLine like this. Run this application. You will notice we are getting all the elements one by one over here. And again, if I will just try to go to the definition of this integer, you can notice it is not implementing IEnumerable interface directly. But if I will just try to use this int and press dot, you can notice we can access this getEnumerator method, right? If I will have a look on this getEnumerator method, right click, go to definition. Here you can notice this is the method and it is available in this array class. Here it is. This is the array class. And because of this getEnumerator method, we are able to run this for each loop over here. You can write any kind of logic as well over here. You can also run a for loop inside this for each loop, or vice versa. It means you can also use a for each loop inside the for loop as well. So based on your logic or based on your need, you can basically use these loops in your program. And remember, if you are working with any kind of custom collection, then the condition of having this getEnumerator method and the moveNext method, it must be satisfied, and then only you will be able to use this for each loop on your custom collection. I hope the main concept of for each loop is clear. That is all in this video. Thank you for watching.